Hello ladies and gentlemen, I'm the Innkeeper, and today we are going to be looking at the super extra unstable combat update for Alpha 16 at latest Steam branch build. This is looking pretty nice. I've been playing this for a little while. I did a live stream, a 3-hour one, where we looked over at some of the new stuff in Alpha 16, including the new classes, being the Archer, Cleric, and Knight, as well as some of the new enemy types. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see the Orc or Ogres, though, and we played the game for about 3 hours, nearly 4 hours straight, so it's a little bit strange. I'm not just sure if maybe we need more people. We got about 20 migrants, I suppose, or Herflings by the end of it. I suppose they're not migrants, they're Herflings. So we will be looking into that map in just a second. Just a little overview right here. This is the update, the hotfix, as it were, just after the Alpha 16 latest came out. So just a few bug fixes here and there. Mostly UI. It's quite late right now, so I do apologize if I sound a little bit eerie. It's right after the live stream. But there we are. The Archer, the Knight, the Cleric. They are very cool characters, and it definitely does promote a more combat-orientated setting with the game. Definitely pushing for, I would say, maybe a tad bit more strategy, but not only that, but a lot of choice involved in the kind of roles and how many of them are better or worse than the other. I have found the Archer to be quite significant, I would say, in comparison to the Knight, who, to be honest with you, HP-wise, they're not that great. They do the job, but I feel like when they get overwhelmed, well, they can get overwhelmed by maybe 2 big wolves fairly easily, I found, at least even with the late game armor. And that's including if you have a Cleric. So maybe you've got to counteract that with having some Clerics. The Cleric's healing abilities as well do seem to be quite nice, even at the higher levels. I will be able to show you some of that if we have at least get attacked at all during the playthrough. However, earlier on, they are a little bit weaker, not as useful. So mostly it's something you've got to level up. That's Merv right there, just chilling out. And these all come from the Footman class. Basically, the idea of them is to first go into basic training, and then they will be able to come the much more powerful roles. You have to get these roles by also improving other roles in the game, and we'll be able to look through that as well. It's quite interesting to see. I like how only the Archer and Knight go through the Footman, but the Cleric goes through the Herbalist. There's a good reason to go through the Herbalist. It's a healing class as well, and you have to be level 2 as well. Blah, 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 blah. It's all interesting stuff. Then we got Orcs and Ogres and Kobolds. Like I just said, I didn't see any of them. Little bit of a shame, really. I was looking forward to seeing some of them. I am playing in hard mode, by the way. I'm not too sure if maybe I've got to wait a certain amount of time until they've just triggered to spawn, or you just have to get lucky, or unlucky, really, and have them spawn. They basically act in the same way as you do with your combat-orientated classes, being the Footman, Knight, Cleric, and I believe the Archer as well, although they're in the form of Kobolds. As for the Ogres, I would like to see an Ogre. I've not seen one, though, and then these are just sort of little UI improvements here and there. So pretty cool stuff. Hopefully the game doesn't sound too quiet. I will turn it up once I get into the actual game itself. So anyway, here we go. Just wait for it to load. Hopefully Fraps doesn't absolutely destroy the save. It seems quite stable, I found, although the UI does get a little bit more laggy once you get around the 15 player mark or Herfling mark. This loaded in rather quickly, I would say, considering previous updates. As you can see, there was a little bit of a slowdown right there. It's actually a lot quicker than what I recall it. I did refresh the client, so maybe that's just the client getting a little bit slow. I'm not too sure. But as you can see, they have 20 migrants, and so I keep saying migrants. I say migrants in Timber and Stone. So anyway, yeah, Herflings, and they are of significant levels and significant professions as well. I believe we have every profession the game has to offer to us. Someone did die. A little bit of a shame. We only had 1 death during the stream. 12 hours until that. Oh, that's the Pike delivery. I do like how they've seemed to have... I mean, I didn't look over the Alpha 14 or 15 updates, so there's a few things I'm not too sure if it came out in this update, but they didn't. Like, maybe it came out in Alpha 15 just between the end of it and towards 16. I'm not too sure, but I'm just going to be talking about the combat update. They have improved the... Oh, there's Necromancer here. Oh, yes, I remember. We had about 7 of these spawn around this particular area before the end of the stream. It was very interesting. I know this isn't part of Alpha 16, though. This is, I believe, Alpha 15, or even maybe Alpha 14. I'm not too sure. We should go and take this guy out, though. They are very easy. I tend to find that the only combat scenario like one of these that have spawned, for instance, the Goblin Camp, who unfortunately still destroy the land they spawn in. They need to fix that. I'm not too sure if it's intended, but it's just a little bit annoying, to be honest with you. But yes, when they spawn, they seem to scale very well against the current combat update. But the Necromancer is very, very weak, I tend to find. Let's go in and let's get our classes set up. And let's have a little bit of a fight before I go into the actual intricacy of the new combat system. So I have a few guys right here. I've got a normal footman. I've got Dan the Archer. I do have other classes hanging around here somewhere, but they are pretty slow. Let's go into super speed mode. Just move around. I do like how much control you have with the latest few alphas that have come out. It really has helped my enjoyment significantly more when it comes to dealing with enemies. It's just much more fluid. I keep saying fluent or fluid, whatever you want. Anyway, let's pause the game. So I have a footman. I have the cleric. Unfortunately, you can't see very well. There we go. You can definitely tell who's who by what they're wearing. They do have very particular types of items that only really associate with them. For instance, this steel headpiece right here, only the cleric can wear that. The cleric robes, which they spawn with. I haven't found anything for the cleric yet that works as a chest upgrade. I'm not sure if maybe I'm looking over something in the herbalists. Perhaps I am. No, we do have quivers as well for the archer, which is pretty cool. We've got this one that slows enemies down and this one that lights them ablaze. I'm not sure which one's better. I haven't had the fire quiver just yet, but maybe we can put that on. I have tried the spiker one though, and it does tend to be pretty cool. Although I'm still not too sure if it does slow down their attack speed. It seems to just slow them down. I'm not really... I guess I'm not observant enough to see that. I'm not too sure. I do have quite high level stuff right here. I've got level 6 blacksmiths as well. So we've got the majority plate armor for our knight, as you can see over here. Although they still need a better sword. They got this little dinky stick, which is a little bit strange. But they do look pretty badass. I do like the knight class, and they do have their own skills as well, as you can see right here. We'll go through them one by one. And then we have the footman character, excuse me, who are definitely still viable. Don't get me wrong, you shouldn't just immediately upgrade your footman to these other classes because they are better or worse. The archers, I found, seem to be a little bit better when it comes to damage, I find. Maybe later on as well, once they have the ability to use maybe the fire quiver and are much higher levels. If we check out their skills right here, they're level 6. Okay, so it allows them to rapidly fire 2 arrows and in rapid succession. So effectively doubling their damage output. That's pretty insane. I'm not sure if there's a way for us to actually see how much damage they do. So there we are, 35 attack damage with the recurve bow. And then I think it's still pretty good here. 25 damage with this. The club right here does 24 damage. So you can already see the damage of the bows are pretty significant. And then you also have the added little effect with the quiver. If you couple that with the fire effect as well, that does damage over time. That's going to add up. Not only that, but they are much quicker as well. I tend to find an archer, at least at a certain level, can probably hit twice before the footman can hit once. I believe that's what I've seen anyway. It's why I got 2 archers, because I feel like having a lot of ranged sort of DPS seems to be quite good in this game, and we could just have the paladin tank most of it. You know, depending on how many enemies there are. Anyway, let's go and take out this Necromancer, and I'll go over some of the classes right here. Alright, let's see. Let's show him a thing or two. Let's go into sort of double speed. We won't go too far. Oh, yeah, this pops up every time I try and kill a Necromancer. It's a bit strange. Just ignore it. It doesn't seem to do much, although it might do something now because I'm recording, and it makes sense to just do something now. There he is. See if we slow the game down. As you can see, doesn't really do much. He dies pretty much instantly. His minions as well seemed a lot weaker than the minions that spawn at night. I'm not too sure if maybe they just forgot to scale the Necromancer and his minions' damage and health and all that together. Seems like that archer's a bit bugged out. He's trying to facepalm the fences. I really wish you could make these fences. They look really cool. Come on, you got it. There we are. They're all done. What do we get from that? Not some amazing stuff. The candle's pretty cool, though, because I don't think you can make some of those. So this is our town. The town of hard mode. We are playing in hard mode. And it was pretty hard at start. At the start of the game, it was pretty hard. However, even though we have 20 people, the damage hasn't amazingly scaled to a point where I really feel like I'm in any true danger. I've got this wall right here, so I'm definitely well defended. And this front entrance is pretty much the only way the enemies are going to be able to get in. If we bring out our soldiers, and like I said, I'm going to do a little overview of the classes, because this is the main part of the update. They haven't really done too much with adding some things to the game, other than sort of things that were in the previous update. I believe we can get stools now. There we go. There's a stool right there, but that was already part of the previous update for those that did not know. I've looked through everything right here, and the only new things are minor UI improvements. That seems to be about it. I can't really think of anything else off the top of my head anyway. Although something else I believe is that you can do something with these houses. You can do something anyway. I believe if you build a house, if we get like a normal house right here, there we go. You can easily move around. There you go. Oh, no, we didn't want to do that. There we go. You can grab the associated item that's part of the house and just move it around without just deleting it like this and then awkwardly going back to the window and placing it down. Instead, just click the window, move it wherever the hell you want. Well, not wherever the hell you want. It would be nice if we could put it on the roof, and then the roof would sort of angle itself appropriately to look like sort of a little window attached to the roof right there. That would look quite nice. So that's a nice little addition. Oh, okay. I was testing to see if schematics would transfer over from Alpha 15 to 16. It seems like they do. I'm not going to spawn that in there as part of the Nordic series anyway. We'll continue onwards. So these are our characters. We'll go through the archer first. So the archer does require a bow, which I believe you need to be level 3 from a carpenter or something like that in order to make. The level 4, in fact. So it does take quite a long time. The carpenter is quite, I would say, difficult to level up, but it did take me longer than it really should have. I should have just spammed making fences. But as you can see, there's a little bit of an inventory crisis that we have going on right here. It's kind of all over the place. At the same time, I'm not sure if this is in Alpha 15, but you got these cool strength tonics. I never needed to use it. Let's see what it does, though. So I imagine they've not really had much of an effect, but there we are. Now everyone has increased strength. So it's sort of a one-time use. I'm not sure how long it lasts. Oh, okay, it actually lasts by the hour. Something else to mention as well is the hard mode enemies don't spawn until I believe 24 hours of in-game time. Then it goes into hard mode and the game really starts at that point. So I believe you've got a day to get ready before the battle ensues, basically, even over the night. So don't worry too much about that if you're going to get overrun unlucky at first. They've definitely balanced it out in that respect. Although I do believe you can definitely get unlucky earlier on with certain spawn types. I have found that enemies will just spawn on your characters, just all over them, really, and it's kind of annoying. I would prefer it if enemies could only spawn under certain circumstances. For instance, if they were, at the very least, a few blocks, well, I say chunks, a few chunks away from our Hearthlings. Take a drink right here. A few chunks away from our Hearthlings, because I've always found like Ents will just spawn around your characters as if their game's trying to dick you over or something like that. Maybe that's the whole point of hard mode. Every now and again, one of your characters is just going to get a little bit unlucky. I have only lost someone to a random rock golem that I believed was just spawned over here and just came along and I wasn't paying attention. So that was my own fault, really. I'm not blaming the game for that. Just every now and again, you are going to get a bit of an odd surrounding or an odd spawn placement. We have had problems with that in the past with past updates, where mines have just been filled up with skeletons out of nowhere, and it's been quite horrible. Anyway, that was a bit of a tangent. So the archer, yes, you can make them from the carpenter. You need a level 3 footman in order to make an archer. If we look right here, you need a footman, they need to be level 3, and then you need a bow, which means you need a level 4 carpenter, and then you can make your archer. The good thing about this is they retain their skills, which is nice. So if you don't really like them being an archer, or maybe you need another footman because you lost one, then you can transfer them over to a footman. Why would you need to do this? Well, you might need another tank character. Maybe one of them died and you just need one of them. You can go ahead and do that. They also have another assortment of skills that are quite nice. I'm still determining what does the most damage, though. I'm thinking the archer does the most damage, but because of the 60% increased damage bonus at level 6, I'm wondering if a level 6 footman is better damage-wise than a level 6 archer. Although the archer should be safer behind the knight or the footman. The knight is more preferable, though, as a tank because he does have a... Not that one. The Fortify. Rank 2, apparently, is other ranks for it. Oh, yeah, there are. There we go. Basically, the Fortify perk, which makes them a taunt, basically. It will taunt. A little taunt aura. All the enemies will try and go for them. So, increases stamina, courage, and draws attention from monsters, basically, which is quite nice. Shout as well. The height intimidates the opponent, drawing the attention of nearby enemies. So, basically, a very taunt-heavy character. Hero's Horn. The knight sounds a horn of combat, drawing the attention of enemies both near and far. Okay, then, that's pretty cool. So, yeah. Just straight up, I'm going to take this kind of character, but we are looking at the archer right now. So let's take a look at those skills. Well, first, they always start off with this cloak right here and the archer padded vest. I've not seen any upgrades for the armor equipment-wise, other than at level 6 with a carpenter, you can make the curved bow, or whatever it was again, recurve bow, which does increase damage, well, from, I believe, 25 to 35 or something like that. We look at this character right here. 25 to 35. So an extra 10 damage. Quite significant, especially when you add up the damage of this giant bone mace right here, which is 24 damage. Although I have to imagine... Let's see, if we look at the carpenters right here, or blacksmiths. Yeah, we've got 28 damage on the two-handed sword. So the archer's bow seems to be the highest damage item in the game, by the looks of things. Unless, of course, there's an item that you can find later on that will increase your damage. But as far as I'm concerned, the archer is made because they are just a ranged DPS character. And that's quite a cool thing to see. I'm not sure what it was called. It was like the Triforce or something like that. Where if you played WoW or something like that, you'd have the healer, the tank, and the ranged DPS. There were 3 of them. And that's sort of the same style that Stonehearth seems to be going for. And that's what I've really gone for right here. So 2 ranged DPS. I've only got, well, 2 ranged DPS. There's might be a melee DPS in there as well. Followed with the tanky character and the healer. Hopefully they actually do their job. Of course, everyone blames the healer. And that's what I've gone for. We've got the team of 5 right here, ready to go into their instance. It's quite cool to see. Once you get the bow, you can also get the quiver as well, which you can also attain from the... I think it was the weaver. Yes, the weaver makes the quivers. This one doesn't really increase damage. I'm assuming the fire one does. Yep, which deal damage over time. There we go. I imagine it deals a significant amount of damage over time, because it's not that difficult to get, but you need the Poyo feathers, which you can buy from a trader that comes by every now and again. Or you can just get your own Poyos if you want. The way that guy's jumping in midair, that's so majestic. Right, anyway, I got distracted. So other than the equipment of the archer, it's pretty good. The damage is well worth changing from a footman to an archer, I find anyway. Now, as for these skills, they got bow proficiency. They then go on to archer damage increase. By which amount, I don't know. It just says the archer damage is increased. I would like it if it told me 10%. Excuse me, 10%. I've been talking for like 5 hours. There we go. 10% extra damage. I don't really know. It'd be kind of cool to find out, since everything else tells you by which percent it increases it by. Maybe I'm overlooking something like that. I'm not too sure. Infected, apparently. Prevents natural health recovery via willpower. Okay, then. I find health regeneration in this is extremely slow as well, which I think is a good thing, because it makes the cleric and the herbalist a lot more of an important role in the game. Otherwise, if everyone was regenning their health, it would feel like they were just there for light convenience rather than actually being necessary, which I definitely think the cleric is at level 6, or, well, 5. Definitely level 6, though, when he increases everyone's... Well, when he increases his own healing. Although you want to have someone with high spirit, because a lot of their healing is based on their compassion attribute, which for this guy is okay. It's level 3, but I could have gone with someone that's level 6, and that would have increased their health by this amount. I love how they've got a lot more detail on these attribute skills as well now. Compassion, how likely the Herfling will help out a fellow villager or befriend others. So determines maximum trapper per count. Quite interesting, actually. Increases shepherd animal happiness. Each point increases direct healing amount by 1. So it's quite nice and quite intricate, the attributes tree, and I really should pay a lot more attention to it, actually. Lots of numbers. I like it. It's good. But anyway, back to the archer. So convoluted and all over the place with this. Nearly level 5 all done as well. The level 2 gets 2 level 2 upgrades, in fact. He gets the archer shots, ignore 50% of target's armor, and then he gets the archer can attack enemies from further away. I found the distance the archer can shoot is about here at level 1, and then once he gets that upgrade, it effectively doubles to around about here, which is quite far. And they can also shoot from up top as well. We did try that out on the live stream, and they are fully capable of shooting even through these crenellations. Like, they will have a line of sight just through them, which is really cool to see. I'm hoping they add some patrol routes in the future. They do have a defense location, but it's a bit buggy right now. Effectively, what they'll do is they will stay there forever. They will effectively stay there, and they will not move. Doesn't matter if they're hungry. They will die of starvation because they are going to apparently take my word to the nth degree, which is to defend themselves. I've moved them all now. I want everyone to actually see their graciousness on the field. I really wish they would stay where they are. I guess they will if I click defend. All right, there we go. Makes sense. They're all in nice line now. Can everyone just look in the same direction? No, Knight. Knight, wrong way, buddy. What are you doing? There we go. At least they all look kind of cool. So yes, back to the skills. At level 5, or at level 4, the archer shoots arrows with greater speed. That's definitely the case. It doesn't mean they shoot faster. The arrows are just quicker. That's what I found. I mean, okay. It seems the arrows are just faster with it. I really can't determine. It says draw speed up. It's greatly increased, but it seems like the arrow actually travels faster rather than actually drawing quickly. I'm not just sure if maybe that's just me maybe overlooking it. Possibly is, since I do play the game at triple speed. So I'm just going to assume they are shooting quickly and it is of greater speed, because that's what it say they should be doing. Range increase rank 2. I don't know what the rank 5 range increase is. I have to imagine it probably does it by every block, which seems to be about this distance. So we go from here to there. Now, if it increases the range to there, that's insane. You can imagine the towers up here would actually be kind of useful at height to just keep the archers around there. And it means they can actually be effective rather than just sticking there and doing nothing at all. And then they go full Legolas mode with the double shot. The archer learns the ancient art of quick shots, allowing rapid firing of 2 arrows in rapid succession. Very interesting. I've not seen that in action, I'm afraid, but I imagine that is pretty cool to see. And there we are. That's the archer. Definitely your ranged DPS character. And I would say if you're definitely looking for something with a bit more punch, go for the archer. The footman doesn't really have too many changes. It's basically your melee DPS, other than I believe the rank 6 being damage up by 60%. I think that's new. Also the cleave as well. The slashing strike that deals damage to up to 4 enemies around the footman's target. Insanely powerful. I recommend keeping a footman around just for this, since the knight doesn't have that. And obviously the archers are single target only. Whereas it looks like the cleaving damage of the footman at level 5. This same thing level 4. This powerful overhead swing deals double damage. Nope. It's only at level 5. This swing is insane, especially against lots of smaller targets. It should be quite nice. And then, of course, the 60% damage increase coupled with that. And we've got the footman is now protected, practiced even, at optimizing the effect of each blow. So just increased damage. The footman charged into battle with speed. I've not seen a charge from what I mean, they seem slightly faster, but I'm not really seeing them charging the battle, or at least there's no effect for it from what I can see. I should really keep the game running at this point so we can actually get into some sort of combat in this, just to show off a little bit more of what's going on at slower speeds, but I don't want them to starve to death, you see, so I'm just overviewing at the moment. There's the footman. We all know the footman. The cleric is very, very cool. I do like the cleric and the way they work. Different inventory types. You can get these cool helmets. The healing tome is made from the herbalist. Let's have a little look over here. So the helmets that you can make for them are only made by the blacksmith, and they come in 3 stages. You got the bronze version, the iron version, and the steel version. I'm currently wearing the steel version because I am a posh mother trucker, but I haven't really seen anything else that's useful for the cleric in this tree. You can even make this decorative scout gong, but I've not come across any kobolds yet, so I haven't got the ability to make one, I'm afraid. You can also make the... Let's have a look. Is it in here? No, it would be nice if eventually the cleric can make their own stuff. I think it's in the herbalist tree. There it is. This is the cleric's tome. They will need this in order to even become a cleric. And I think you need to be a level 2 herbalist in order to make it. And to then also become a cleric. There we go. Be level 2. You got to be a herbalist first. I do like the fact that the cleric isn't attached to the footman tree. It does make a lot of sense. The cleric can fight, but they are effectively a combat healer. And they will primarily be in the supporting role with some very unique skills that are very much aura based. As you can probably tell, there are a few cool stats here. One of them is the major strength. So muscle improves greatly from the presence of a cleric. So muscle being one of the attributes that you can see right here, which every 10 muscle increases weapon damage by 1, which is very cool since it's increased their strength by plus 45 by the looks of things, which is insane. Wow, when you just look at those stats, that guy had, what, 144 on his attributes right there on muscle? 147. If we look at a random guy right here, this worker, probably not the best use since their body is extremely low. But look at that, muscle of 22. Of course, they do have these strength boosts as well, so we do have to keep that in mind. 50% strength boost. So really, their muscle right here is about 70, 74, something like that, roughly. Which is still pretty good in comparison, since this guy would then be 10. That strength pot is really good, I just thought about that. Maybe, no, I put the strength pot on after killing that Herfling. Or the Necromancer. Anyway, I thought maybe I showed off the Necromancer in a bad light there, but they're still not scaled very well, but that's for another time. As for the Cleric Robes, I'm not seeing any way to make Cleric Robes, so there we go. The abilities, though. So the Cleric's presence heals everyone around them periodically. So this is an aura, which is quite nice. So sort of a light aura heal. They can do their own single target healing spell, which is very powerful as well. Mostly focusing on the tank, of course, because they're the one that's actually taking punishment. And they should be the only one that needs to be healed, unless, of course, the tank does something stupid and then dies. Or, of course, the healer goes AFK and leaves the instance or something like that. The Cleric's presence improves the muscle of those around them. Very cool. I do like how it improves it by quite a significant amount. Increases compassion for increased direct healing. Just a straight compassion upgrade, really. It doesn't do much else. Healing aura power increased. By what? I don't know. Still, I would like a little bit more information there. It just says it's increased. Is it around about here? Heals every 30 units around the cleric. So I have to imagine 10 units, 20 units, 30 units, I have to imagine. I don't like how level 3 and level 4 are both healing aura upgrades. Seems a bit lazy, but I guess major strength is quite a significant upgrade, which is basically the same as the level 1 upgrade right here. Increases everyone's muscle attribute. And then level 6, which is the cleric has mastered the art of healing. Compassion greatly increased. Now, by what amount, I do not know. I would like it if they told you a little bit more, but it does tend to give you a little bit more. There we go, 20% increase. So that's pretty cool right there. At least an extra 5 or 7. And that's the cleric, your supporting role in your little group right here, your party. And then, of course, you have the tank, who is a badass character. And this is, I've been talking about these classes for a little bit too long. The tank right here only uses very specific gear. When you turn them into a knight, I keep saying tank, but a knight, they can be turned into a knight via a shield that can be made at the blacksmiths. A little bit of a lag spike right there. Once again, I do like the fact that you need to progress into a completely separate skill tree in order to make one of the other classes. It's definitely a well-rounded group right here. I do like the fact that it's not just, oh, this one class can make all the weapons and items required. It's like the carpenter can make basically everything with the... Well, the carpenter can make quite a few classes. I would like it if maybe they spread that around a little bit. Look, all of this for one class. I feel like that could definitely be spread around. In which way? I don't know. I feel like the bowyer could maybe be made into some sort of fletching class, which can then also be made into an archer afterwards. I would prefer that, to be honest, over a footman, which can then be made into a... Well, a footman that can then be made into an archer. But then again, does that make sense? Because then you got to get that Fletcher leveled up again. Once you level up that Fletcher to an archer, then you've got to also make another Fletcher to do all the other stuff that is required in order to make the archer efficient. I'm not too sure. Maybe I'll go back on that a little bit more, but something like it. I guess making them a footman makes a little bit of sense. Because like I said, it's pretty cool because it means if you don't want them to be an archer anymore, you can go back to them being a footman if that is your desired role for the time being. Quite a bit of both. mix and match it about a little bit. It's pretty cool to see. But yes, the knight's armor is made from the shield, which I didn't show you. I got a little bit sidetracked right there, as I usually do on these little overviews, which is right here, the knight shield made with 1 iron and 1 leather. Would like it if maybe it was a little bit more expensive, since the knight is quite an intricate role, and I feel like having a little bit more expense there does make a lot more sense. Maybe making it steel instead, although, I mean, what level do you need steel for? I suppose level 5. No, steel's level 4. Maybe. I feel like it's important. Get the knight roll in a little bit later on. Maybe the last class, although it's very useful, but I feel like it's a good idea to make it the last class because you've already got footmen, essentially, which aren't necessarily tanky characters since they don't get the bonuses or the same aura taunt effect, but it's close enough for the time being so that further along, it would make sense as sort of the final upgrade to complete your little group right here. Just a little nitpicky thing. More personal preference than anything else. But they do start off with their own armor types that are weaker than the full plate mail. That's basically equivalent to iron. They also start off with the bronze short sword, and they can only use very particular weapons. You'll be able to tell which weapons they can use by this little icon, the part of the weapon right here. Even hover over it by the looks of things, so maybe not. Level 4. I was hovering over something a second ago. There we go. Equipped by knight at level 4. For some reason, it only shows it at this corner. That's a bit weird. There we are. Equipped by the knight at level 4. I like how it tells you equipped by the footman at level 6. So we could make this two-handed sword if we really wanted to. I guess we will, just see what it looks like. The footman is level 6 right here. So you should be able to see what a cool little sword looks like. Although first, let's just have a nice little overview, apparently. So all the items inside his tree or his equipment can all be customized and changed, improved essentially, to be of higher tier. Even his normal shield can be changed into a steel shield. So I do like that. There's a lot more you can do with the knight, and I do very much enjoy that in comparison to the cleric, which I would like a little bit more like a tome upgrade maybe, or maybe even a shadow tome of some sort, similar to like a warlock, so you can change the cleric into a warlock instead that can summon stuff and do all that cool stuff, and it's just all based on the item they're wielding, and maybe later on they will let you sort of muck around with this. I'm not too sure. I'm just sort of randomly throwing ideas out there. Anyway, so the knight, fortify, very powerful. Increases stamina, courage, and draws attention from monsters. So stamina and courage, definitely ideal for the role of a tank. This Hearthling's physical endurance. Each point increases max health by 1. Very powerful. His max health is 431 in comparison to this guy's, which is nearly half. It's really, really strong, tank-wise. It's definitely the character of choice for a tank. Just for that aura alone, it's really powerful. But there we are. There's that, as well as increasing the muscle skill ever so slightly. No, not muscle skill, the courage skill. In order to not have them shy away from combat as much, which definitely would be a terrible idea if your tank was running away. That's definitely not going to help with morale. Then we've got the knight gains an additional 10% defense from equipment. I'm not too sure how I feel about this because of the current defensive bonuses that you get from equipment. That's really bad. That's what? 0.7? 0.5? Well, not exactly that, I think. Anyway, I'm not the maths kind of guy. I don't know if I'm getting this right. But that's insignificant. It's not great. I think this is 20%. Still insignificant in my opinion. I would like it if maybe they upped it by 50%. Even then, in my eyes, considering the current stats and how armor is pointed, I suppose, the numbers are too low. The percentage bonuses don't seem to matter that much. Unless, of course, I'm overlooking something. The knight gains an additional 10% from equipment. So specifically from the equipment they're holding. The 7+ from full plate mail. The best armor you can get is just, I'm assuming, 0.7, which is not even, it's not noteworthy, to be honest with you. It does end up being 1.4 eventually, once you get the level 4 armor improvement. Okay, there we go. That's nice. That's with that full plate mail, the highest armor thing you can get. You got the shield right here. There is nothing else you can make. This is top tier gear right here. You need to have a level 6 blacksmith in order to make this. You only need to be level 2 as a knight as well. Only the knight can wield this as well, so keep that in mind. Iron is for the footman. And these helmets are for all the knight and the footman can use that shield. Pretty interesting. There we go. I wonder if certain shields would be good against certain enemies. Anyway, something else to think about. Some more intricate things they might end up giving you later. Once I imagine they give you more equipment control. Then we have Shout, which is the primary attribute or skill, ability even, that you would want from your knight. The knight intimidates the opponent, drawing the attention of nearby enemies. Very good, I find. They are a tanky class. That's what they're meant to do. Draw attention away from your other people so that they can inflict the damage. You still do an okay amount of damage. 14 is not too bad. You seem to hit about the same rate as the footman, I find. It's okay. It's, you know, eventually you can use the weapon at level 4 right here. I just realized the game's being extremely quiet. There we go. I might add some music in the background just to alleviate the silence. There we go. At level 4, you can add this sword right here. 18 damage. It's a little bit extra. I think that's 4 extra. So it's not too insane, but it's okay. And then at level 3, another upgrade to your Fortify. Stamina and Courage increased greatly. That's what we are at right. That's what level we are at right now. Nearly level 4. And then we got damage reduction 20%. Once again, I don't really think this skill's really noteworthy, to be honest with you. Inspiring Presence. The Knight boosts courage of everyone around. Quite nice. I like how there's a lot of aura skills attributed to our classes at the moment. Definitely making them more of a group effort as opposed to just being single-handedly the best class. You know, they definitely help each other out, which is very nice to see. Especially the courage bonus as well. Stops a few people from running away. And then we've got the Knight sounds of Horn of Combat. Horn of Combat, drawing the attention of enemies both near and far. Do I care for that so much? Not really. I found the spawn rate of enemies in this to sort of be all over the place, really. A trader returns, apparently. Sure, there we go. We've got some bone things for him right there, which I guess we might need for a few extra footmen that we're going to have lying around. But my thoughts on the new combat update. Oh, here we go. I don't remember you. Stone Golem. Okay, well, I'm glad to see this. It looks like he's got a few of these little stone golems with him. Unfortunately, the strength potion's been used up, so that's going to be not very helpful. I've got the Pathfinder lines on for those that are wondering what that is. Right, let's move them in. And let's see what we can do. Then again, tell you what. Let's get the archers onto a different group. Let's see. Let's add this archer and this archer. And let's get them on the wall. I think that's a good idea. Let's go over to this group. And it looks like they've already moved from that party. So these guys can come up here. These ones can stay in a defensive position up on top of that wall. All right, there we go. If they do eventually get there, which would be nice. All right, stay up there. Oh. Maybe... Oh, looks like the archers aren't doing it, unfortunately. Right, let's move them back a little bit. I would like it if the archers at least tried. Putting them in a defensive position up here. Maybe a bit further in. Doesn't seem like they care that much. Bit of a shame. I did see them go up here and do a little bit of damage. I'm really trying to get them to do it. But oh well. It doesn't matter so much. We'll put them back in their original groups now. It's a shame that it sounds so quiet. I don't want to change it now because I want to add something in the background. Otherwise it's going to sound really weird. And there was the sort of multi-attack right there from our footman, which is pretty cool to see. Didn't get to see the effect, I'm afraid. Here we go. We got this big bugger to kill. All right, let's go in at a shorter speed right here. You can see our archers firing at a moderate rate, and this is the different distances between the upgrades. Level 1 archer or apprentice archer versus a level 5 archer right there. Oh, some decent damage right there on the footman. Although it doesn't seem like the knight is taunting as much as I would like. But I do like how this golem is very tough. Look at him. He's taking a lot of punishment. What I don't like, however, is that this footman is taking more damage than he really should be. Right, he's running away now. He is getting healed, as you can see. There's a nice little spark effect going around him. But I'm wondering if the taunt effect is even working. Maybe it's because the stone golem just does not give a fuck. You never know. He might just really not care. But we are keeping him alive with the cleric, who happens to be right next to him. I'm not sure how I feel about that. But he's just sort of saying kind words to him. And there we go. Pretty cool. More heals. You can see some nice healing effects as well. And everyone should be very slowly regaining health because they are within the presence of a cleric. Seems like they're not. Well, the cleric's quite far away now. What about you? He didn't receive any damage, so he shouldn't be. But there we are. That's a little bit of combat for you. Quite nice to see. I'm glad we saw that golem, actually. We didn't see one of those before. Well, I haven't seen one of those before. I'm really annoyed that we didn't get to see any of the orcs or ogres, though, so I can't really comment on those. I imagine a bunch of other people have seen them, though. I imagine just look over in the forums or even on the Reddit page to see if maybe anyone else has seen some of those. I haven't myself, or haven't even seen anything about them. Just references towards them on the note, on the patch note, or the alpha update note. There we are for the latest build. I wish you could click that and it'll bring it all down. That'd be very useful. But there we are, ladies and gentlemen. That's the combat update for you. Other than that, I'm pretty sure I've told you everything else. You know, the minor sort of building improvement right there. My thoughts and opinions on the update, however, spectacular. I like it. It's really cool. I like how it's drawing more attention or more focus to the combat-orientated... Not orientated, but the combat in Stonehearth. It definitely was lacking a little bit. And also the difficulty seemed to have spiked a decent amount. But as you can see right there, we seem to have handled it fairly well, even with 20 migrants. We did have 5 people, though, deal with one of those creatures. So what if we get to day 50, we have 40 migrants again, Hearthlings, and we get 5 of them? Can we deal with that? Well, I have to imagine we'll probably have a second group at that point. You can have 4 groups in total, which is pretty nice. You can control them individually. Can't change their little banner, though, but you can change their party names. Would be nice to get some hotkey changes for this. I'm not sure if you can change the hotkeys of anything in this. Doesn't think you can. You can change the max citizens, though, to 49. What? Okay, that wants to annoy me on purpose, I imagine. You can also go to game speed 3 if you wish to do so. Change the language as well. From English to Super English. English to Super English. I'm not too sure what the differences would be. Buildings, about the same. They can build a lot more now, though. Although they can't build that massive tower that you saw. They still have a little bit of trouble with that. But generally, they can build all this cool stuff. Although I did spawn this wall in during the live stream. So, also don't like how this bit's just... Why did I make this one corner like this? I really don't know. This person looked massive. I thought they were an enemy just then. But nope. They are, in fact, one of our friends. But there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all very much for watching. I do apologize if I didn't look over that much. I feel like I have missed something. But it's quite late right now, and I wanted to primarily focus on the classes and the combat itself in the game, the way they work together. It's very cool to see. Once again, I'm loving the combat in this. I'm hoping that maybe they offer some really, really big creatures later on. Maybe they are already in here. It looks like the ogres are about double the size of some of our guys, at least on the hard mode image that that was showed. I probably should go back to that as well, although it doesn't really matter though that much. But it is accessible on the difficulty settings, peaceful, normal, and hard mode. I recommend anyone that wishes to play this game, play on hard mode, because I think that's a proper experience right there. It gives you a proper survival experience and a proper reason to do anything. That's pretty much it, you know? I've never really felt like I've needed to build a wall before, but I have, because I need a wall now. And it's really easy to build as well. It didn't take that long. Just use the wall tool, and you can make these towers in a little while. Make sure you get the resources, though. They should be able to build this kind of wall, though. It's very simple, although they might get stuck in the middle if you don't make some sort of way for them to get out. But they shouldn't have any problem with this kind of stuff. Small builds, they're fine with. Overly complex stuff, like all the schematics that I have lying around in here, which... Why is this all red? I'm looking at the wrong thing. There you go. You don't want to spawn in the, I don't know, a mead hall or something like that. Oh, I can't even spawn it in. It's so bloody big. Ugh. There we go. You know, they won't be able to do this, but they can do that. They can do that. It's fine. And they could do more than that as well. They could probably do this section right here if it ended up being its own house. Just sort of imagine a mirror image of the exact same thing on the other side. They could probably do that, no problem. Not the whole thing, though, because they end up getting a little bit tired of it by the looks of things. And also the amount of wood you need to require. But that's not really it. It's just that they get tired of it. There ends up being ladders everywhere. It's a bit of a mess. But there we go. Hopefully they'll be able to deal with that at a later date. Maybe improve the scaffolding mechanic. I'm not really too sure. But anyway, thank you for watching. Once again, I do apologize if I missed anything. I said that before. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Follow me on Twitter, updates on my channel, and Twitch for live streams. Thanks for watching. the Alpha 16 latest build overview, I suppose, for the more combat-orientated classes in the game. I've been the Innkeeper, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.